Every room you enter is a chance to create opportunity, impact, and connection. But if you don't know how to show up with power and presence, then you miss your moment. And this eats me up because honestly, too many brilliant people are shrinking in rooms they were meant to shift. I'm Erin Cole. I'm the founder of Heartbeat Communications. I am a communication strategist, a storyteller, and a professional MC. And I've been on more than 500 professional stages. And this is what I know. Let me tell you what I know. The same skills that you use to command a stage are the same skills that you use to show up and own any room. Welcome to the Owning the Room podcast. And I hope you enjoy this episode. There is something magical, electric that happens when a great story meets the right stage or the right screen. I believe that storytelling is the basis of transformation. What do I mean by that? It's the moment in a film where you get lost in the sauce. You're like, I'm in this, I am this person. I have embodied everything that is in this film. For me, it's a film like the movie 300, where Leonidas gets a message from the messenger and then he kicks him off the ledge and he says, "This is Sparta!" And instantly I'm a warrior. Or it's like that moment in the 5 Heartbeats where you're lost in the music and you're singing, "I got nothing but love for you, baby." It is through these moments on screen or on stage where we find our own desires. We find how we want to feel about things. We find who we want to be, where we want to go, what we want to do. Storytelling is the basis, is the beginning, rather, of transformation. And on today's Owning the Room, I get to talk to a good friend of mine who tells stories for a living. He creates these moments from beginning to end. He writes and he directs. His work has been featured on shows like Grey's Anatomy, Cruel Summer, Chicago Under Fire, or Chicago Fire. His writing credits include Lena Waithe's Boomerang and 20s. His work is literally international. He's been at the Cannes Film Fest, featured there, Chicago International Film Fest. He doing the thing, y'all, okay? So I just want you to put your virtual hands together and welcome to Owning the Room, my good friend, Mr. Dan Willis.
Hello, thanks for having
Hi,
me.
I'm so glad to have you. It's so good to see you. Looking good in your old age. Got all your teeth.
I got a couple grays coming in very thinly.
So Dan, I'm super excited to have you on the podcast today. I remember back in college, so Dan and I had an opportunity to meet each other in college. I actually kind of like grew him up a little bit. Like he was just a wee tot sitting on a stoop at college, and he was like, "Can I take your bags up to your dorm, ma'am?"
I remember it differently, but go ahead.
But no, we were great friends in school and still to this day. I've been friends for 20 years. And I remember him being a DJ, I feel like, at a college radio station. Is this correct? Am I remembering this correct?
DJ is a stretch. I worked at the local NPR station. So
okay. Local NPR station. But were you playing like jazz music or something like that at night?
Like classical. That's where I learned about Claude Debussy and all those guys. So yeah, not the cool radio station, but a radio station nevertheless.
Got it. And so I remember he shot this film of himself at work, and he was like the DJ behind the thing, and he was like doing stuff. He was multiple characters. He had multiple angles. And I was like, what? You did this by yourself? And I feel like I didn't know that you had an interest in theater and film until that moment. I was like, who is this person? So my first question for you is, where did your love for the stage, the arts, and for film come from?
I mean, I tell this a lot. It's really, I think, different from a lot of my peers. I didn't grow up in the arts at all. I was not making like Super 8 films in my backyard when I was like 6 years old. I wanted to be a baseball player when I was growing up. So my love for the arts didn't come until I got to college. When I got to the University of Missouri, where we went to school together, my love for journalism, the reason why I came there, dissipated quite quickly. So I had to find something else. And then my roommate at the time encouraged me to take an acting class to get an easy A. I did so, and that changed the entire trajectory of my career.
You weren't a bad actor. We got to be in a play, at least one
Yeah.
together. Yeah.
Good old days.
So I think when a lot of people think of this idea of owning something, of taking possession of something, especially a room, they think of control, they think of command. But when I think about the work of a director in film, it's very behind the scenes. Like literally, a lot of people don't even know who you are, but you're running the show. Now I know that film or TV is a huge operation, and there are many hands involved, but you are a lead person on that set. How do you own the room from behind the scenes?
I work mostly in television. So in that scenario, I'm joining a team that's already been created. So a big part of it is just coming in and showing respect for what's been accomplished so far, showing like a understanding of what this team is trying to accomplish with the show that they're making, and then coming in with a point of view and clear communication on how I want to accomplish the goals that I'm setting. So I think that's kind of where I start. I feel like owning the room feels to me sometimes like a little more than what I should be trying to do in this situation. But to me, it's really about just coming in with some ideas, and coming in with a kind of openness and a humility, and a readiness to lead, while respecting what's already been accomplished there.
Yeah. So being on all these sets, I know you've met some famous people.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever had a situation? Well, before I ask this, what is who's the most famous person that you've worked with in terms of for you? I know that's a subjective question, but someone that walked in the room, you're like, oh, I think I need to readjust myself.
Oh, it's got to be Brandy for sure. I
Uh-huh.
mean, I've probably met people who may be more famous in certain circles than she was. But I worked on this show. It was for ABC a couple years ago. It's called Queens, and the two leads were Brandy and Eve, who, for people of our generation. Exactly. So it's like these are icons in my mind. So that was a moment where I kind of had to gather myself a little bit and say, okay, you can't be a fan right now. You have to kind of do the job. I have worked with people who are extremely famous and very accomplished, but it's a little bit different when their work has had a personal impact on you or it connects to a particular time
Right.
in your life. So
Yes.
those were some special ones for sure.
So paint the picture for me. Brandy walks in. Are you having to direct her?
For sure, for sure, for sure. And what I tried to do, I don't know. You'd have to ask her if I was successful. Was just to go about it how I do everything else.
Yeah.
So I'm a person who comes in. I have a pretty kind of even keel demeanor.
Hmm.
I'm pretty polite. I try to be funny. So I just tried to approach it the way that I always did. Now, at some point, like towards the end, was I able to say how special like this opportunity was to work with them? Of course, and that was really great. But for me, I wanted to also establish myself as a professional in the space. So I didn't want to do too much, but it did feel special for sure.
You would say that you pulled on those tools of humility first,
Hmm.
having a vision. So
Hmm.
humility, I know what they want.
Hmm.
So I'm going to come in and submit to what they want. Then I have my vision. Here's how I insert my vision into this.
Hmm.
And then I approach it with your authority rises up because you have that vision, I guess, so to speak.
Yeah, I think people have an expectation for directors to lead. They want a strong leader. They want you to know what you want. That's the biggest thing. I feel like everyone's been in a situation where they have a boss or a manager who has no direction, who doesn't know what they want, who is just kind of trying things. And I feel like the team understands that. Everyone wants to do their job. They want to do their job well, but they need a direction to kind of to head in. So I
Right.
feel like my job is to communicate that and also just to engage everyone and to make them feel a part of what we're trying to accomplish. So to figure out what they're really good at and put them in an opportunity to do that.
That's a good thought. I was going to ask, how much of the other person, the actor, so to speak, voice gets inserted into what we see when we're sitting at home watching the show.
100% of their voice. It should be. I mean, they are the character. They are the face of the character at the very least. They're the person that the audience is identifying with. So it's really important for me to incorporate as many of their ideas as possible, because we want to create truthful performances. We want it to feel real. We want it to be affecting. We want it to be funny. So you want them to have a level of investment in the character. So I'm going to come in with my ideas about how we should tell the story and where the character should be based on everything we've seen to that point. But it's a conversation. It's
Mm-hmm.
how about we try this rather than I need you to do it exactly like this.
Mm-hmm. So your approach also impacts how you own the space.
For sure, for sure. I think in any kind of leadership position, I feel like you set the tone for how people move and how people communicate. So for me, I really try to set that kind of collaborative tone. I'm responsible for a lot of things, but I'm not doing anything by myself.
On a set, you are intensely involved with somebody for a set amount of time, like 30 days, 2 months, and then you move on and you're on another set. What is it like to have to kind of reestablish authority or your position over and over again?
It's great. I kind of think of it like summer camp. Like every job is kind of like summer camp where you get to start fresh. I love like coming into a new space. It can be intimidating depending on how long things have been, going before you got there, or just how complicated things might seem. But for me, it's an opportunity to come in with like a fresh energy and fresh ideas, and just kind of a new spirit to hopefully, get people excited about the work that they're doing again. So I think that's kind of part of my role as well, is just kind of injecting a little fun and energy and freshness into every job that I do.
Would you say you're a pretty adaptable person? Like,
I think so.
change
I think
happens.
so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you need to be. I kind of look back at things in my life that I didn't know at the time might be preparing me for the things that I'm doing now. It seems like they are. But yeah, you have to be very adaptable. Things change really quickly. The production environment is one that is always moving. We kind of talk about it like jumping on a train that's already going in a direction. So yeah, adaptability and flexibility really really important in my line of work.
How does somebody, I think adaptability is super important when it comes to like being able to command a space and have that authority in a space. How does somebody build that? What do you think has helped you grow in that?
I think you have to put yourself in uncomfortable places and try things that may not come naturally to you or maybe a little bit intimidating. I think once you do that, you become more adaptable just by nature. And I think that just kind of starts with ambition. Like if you want to, be an actor, you have to start going out on auditions. And sometimes
Hmm.
those auditions aren't going to be for characters that come naturally to you. So you have to stretch yourself a little bit.
Hmm.
You have to, if you want to be a writer or if you want to be a director, you have to, kind of put yourself in spaces where you can make those kind of dreams into a reality. And they're often not built specifically for you. And so for that reason, you have to kind of not change who you are, but maybe change how you move or change how your perspective or whatever it is, to kind of fit into the space so you can get everything you need from it and continue to grow.
There's stuff that you need from the space that you're in, not just stuff that you're giving out.
100%. I learned something on every set. It's like I learned how to communicate a little bit better. I kind of joke that directing is 90% communication. So I learned how to talk to people and different people. I learned how to kind of, clarify my own, thoughts and ideas and vision, and then kind of broadcast that to a number of people. I learned how to deal with, the politics of working in any office or in any space where other humans are present. So I feel like every job offers me something, besides money.
I think that there are a lot of people who, I know a lot of people that have stories that they've either written or they're writing that they want to produce in film. They're raising money to do it. And I wrote a play a few years ago, and I don't know if you remember this, but someone had come to me and said, "It's a really good play. I would love to give you $100,000 to make it a film.
Mhm.
And I thought, that's great. And then I told you about it, and you were like, why don't you ask them for $10,000 to make like a 10-minute short? Because I think you had looked at it and you'd seen all the different parts of it, and just said $100,000 is going to be a really low budget film for this. And so that's something that you learn and you grow in. I was like, I would never know that. I would never know that kind of advice. What advice would you give somebody who is listening, who is like, how do I get my work into the world? How would you encourage them? How would you encourage them to own the room without, maybe having a lot of money or notoriety or anything?
Well, this is the perfect time in human history to get your work into the world. I feel like there's so many platforms and just so much access to a large audience. I mean, it starts with whoever follows you on Instagram or TikTok. It's kind of as simple as that. Having an idea, realizing that idea in some way, whether it's writing or performance or whatever it is, and then just starting in your sphere. Like, show it to your friends. Like, build your confidence by getting feedback. You talked earlier about the short film I made. It's like this kind, it was very rudimentary. It's kind of like that Charlie Chaplin style.
I was impressed though. I was like, this is great. I did not know my friend did this.
But that meant something to me, and it's like it meant something to me then, and now looking back I can see where it's like you have to learn to have confidence and to share your work and to take feedback and take whatever critique and use that to build upon. So that takes practice. So in terms of getting your work out there, just start showing it to your friends. And then when you feel good about that, start sharing it on your kind of social media platforms. And when you feel better about that, start submitting to fellowships and competitions, and just continuing to kind of build organically. Or maybe the first thing you make will go viral on YouTube. Who knows? But like, separate from the result is just the action of continuing to put yourself out there and show people what you're doing.
There was a big strike in film.
No telling.
And well, I don't even know. How are things now? Is that better? Is that truly resolved? I know the strike is over, but I know that there was a lot of like concern about AI's role in film. My question is, what are your thoughts about that, and how would you encourage someone that's thinking like, is my job going to be, taken away from me as an actor? Is it even worth pursuing me submitting my work as a writer if this is the way things are changing?
Well, to speak to the business is in a challenging time. It's not the first time it's been in a challenging time, but it's the most recent and it's happening right now. So, is this necessarily the time to pack up your bags and move to Los Angeles? I don't think so. But is it, a time to give up on the hope of having a career in entertainment? Absolutely not. I just think, this is just a period that we're in right now, coming off the strikes, coming off really complicated business things that kind of made the strikes necessary. The influence of AI, I feel a broader threat of AI towards society than I do specifically the entertainment business. The point is, there's always going to be something to worry about. There's always going to be ups and downs in the business. If this person, this fictional person, is interested in telling stories and being a part of storytelling, then keep doing it and keep pursuing it. And I feel like something will work out. It might not be the thing that you're interested in this moment, but I feel like if you're a part of that pursuit, you'll find your place. So I always encourage people to do that no matter what. Does the outlook look particularly rosy in this current moment? I wouldn't say so, but things change every day.
Yeah, absolutely. Dan, this has been a great conversation. I've enjoyed talking to you. Thanks for coming on Owning the Room, and thanks for how you show up in the rooms that you own every day.
Thanks for having me.
Hey, if you enjoyed that episode, I hope you did. Share it with somebody else. Don't keep it to yourself. Like, comment, subscribe, leave a review, all the things. And if you want to keep up with how you can own your own room, check out the show notes for more. I hope to see you next time.